Omega-3 fatty acids are one of the best known groups of nutrients for supporting brain health and overall health. A lot of people get them from fish or fish oil, but algae is also another good source. How do you know which algae are the best ones for getting your omega-3s? Hi, I'm Dr. Patricia Shelton, lead medical communicator for Tahiro. And let's take a look at this article here on Tahiro's website about the best algae for getting omega-3s. Now, the first thing to talk about is what actually is algae? This is a huge group, a very diverse group of organisms. They're essentially all marine plants, so they photosynthesize, they get energy from the sun. They vary from little tiny microscopic organisms, single-celled organisms that would just look like muck in the water, all the way up to huge kelp that can be hundreds of feet long, right? So a very diverse group. And some types of algae in the form of kelp or seaweed are commonly eaten in certain parts of the world. For example, in Japan, people tend to eat a lot of this. In other parts of the world, it's a whole lot more rare to consume kind of much, if any, algae in the diet. So if we're looking at omega-3s, we also want to consider that not all omega-3s are created equal. This is a group of nutrients. They're different from each other. They have different effects in the body. So the most common type of omega-3 that's found in most plant-based sources, so chia seeds, flax seeds, nuts, right? Terrestrial, so land-based plant sources. That's the ALA, this short chain omega-3 fatty acid, ALA. And it certainly does have some benefits. It's not like ALA isn't good for you. But when we're looking at the benefits in the research, it turns out the long chain omega-3s are the ones that are really powerful for brain health and heart health, overall health. And that's EPA, DHA, and there's another one called DPA. So these are the long chain omega-3 fatty acids. And they're primarily found in these large cold water fish, so like salmon, tuna, right? These large fish that have to accumulate a lot of fat in order to survive in a very cold marine environment. You can get your long chain omega-3s from those fish pretty easily, but a lot of people prefer not to eat fish. Either they're vegetarian or vegan, maybe they have environmental concerns, they're worried about overfishing in the oceans, maybe they're worried about toxins that are accumulating in our marine food chain, unfortunately, across the world. So there might be a lot of reasons that someone prefers to avoid fish. But like we said, most of the plant-based sources don't have those long-chain omega-3s in them. Right? So what are we going to do? Well, it turns out that fish themselves actually don't even synthesize the long-chain omega-3 fatty acids in their own tissues. They accumulate them. And ultimately, those long-chain omega-3s come from algae. And little fish eat the algae, bigger fish eat the smaller fish, and on up the food chain until we have these very high levels in these kind of larger fish kind of towards the top of the food chain, right? But what if we simply cut out the middleman? Ate the algae directly. That is a good way to get some of those long-chain omega-3 fatty acids. However, as we've said, not all algae are the same. Not all algae are going to have high levels of long-chain omega-3s in them, right? It needs to be the right kind. As far as dietary sources, it is possible to get these nutrients in some of the kinds of algae that are commonly eaten as food. For example, nori, that's the wrapping that you might find like around a sushi roll, does have EPA in it, so one of those long-chain omega-3s. Other types of algae that you might find in Japanese food, like miso soup, seaweed salad, right? They will contain long-chain omega-3s too. There's some potentially in spirulina and chlorella. These are teeny organisms. Some people don't even classify them as algae. They're more bacteria. They're super simple organisms, and you get them as powder that people add to protein drinks or smoothies. Spirulina and chlorella, in most of the research, they've not been consistently shown to have the long-chain omega-3s in them. So really, that's not a reliable way to get what you're looking for. The best kind of algae for long-chain omega-3s are these teeny microalgae from these kind of groups with long scientific names, Schizotrium and Nenochloropsis. These aren't things that you're going to find as food or in food. You're going to find them in the form of supplements. And these are the type of microalgae that the little fish are eating that are then just kind of accumulating those nutrients up the food chain until you end up all the way at those big fish that people sometimes get their omega-3s from. So when you're looking for a plant-based omega-3 supplement, right, an algae supplement for omega-3, make sure you're looking on the label that it contains the long chain omega-3. So you're looking for those acronyms, EPA, DHA, ideally also DPA. Make sure that it contains those nutrients. They are the ones that are the most powerful for your health. And this is why Tahiro's scientists have put effort into making sure there are high and balanced levels of those long chain omega-3s in their vegan omega-3 supplement. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email us at knowledge@tahiro.com. And as always, we're wishing you great brain health.